I'd like to call this July 10th meeting of the Rockingham County School Board to order. The first item on, I'd like to welcome everybody on this beautiful July evening. And welcome to our new superintendent. I'm excited to get everything started. It's so great that we have such a good turnout for your first meeting. The first item on our agenda is to approve the agenda. Board members, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Thank you, Mr. Falk. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Mr. Cross. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries and we have an agenda. Thank you. Now, if you can please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll now have a moment of silence. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is recognitions and presentations. And we're going to begin with a presentation from, I guess, Mr. Bo Dickinson is going to introduce our guests.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. I'm here with my co-sponsor of the project, Mr. Owen Longacre, who's a history teacher at Spotswood High School. We're glad to share this. So Dr. Shiflett, Superintendent Shiflett, Chair Lohr, and members of the board, it is indeed our pleasure this evening to share with you a very special grant-funded documentary film project that was developed in collaboration with Rocktown History and 5 students from Spotswood High School. Their film, titled Knocking Down Walls, tells the story of how the first court orders to desegregate Virginia public schools were actually handed down. And I did not know this as a history student until very recently. I will admit that this is a local story and that those decisions were handed down in none other than Harrisonburg, Virginia, just down the street from here at our own federal courthouse by a federal judge by the name of Judge John Paul. And this film debuted to the public on May 25th, 2023 at Court Square Theater. And that was along with a special Q&A with the student filmmakers, 2 of which are here this evening to share about their project. And it also included several of their interviewees that we spent time asking questions to and filming interviews with that made the substance of this wonderful documentary. Those interviewees included folks such as State Judge John A. Paul, which many people may know from this community, who is the nephew of Federal Judge John Paul, who made these decisions, as well as several of the surviving student plaintiffs from the cases of Allen versus Charlottesville and Kilby versus Warren County. Nearly 250 people attended the premiere, and audience members gave more than 1 standing ovation to the filmmakers and the other participants. The film's title is taken from a quote by the Honorable Thurgood Marshall when he stated that, quote, "The legal system can force open doors and sometimes it can even knock down walls, but it cannot build bridges. That job, of course, belongs to you and me." Our students endeavored to tell the story of the lawyers, the judges, and most importantly, I would say the students who knocked down the walls of not only Jim Crow, but also the massive resistance campaign that tragically closed schools in order to prevent them from being integrated. And much like our approach to teaching hard history in the classroom, the film confronts the realities of this victimization while also emphasizing, this is important, the agency and the resilience of those who fought against those injustices. I'll warn you, the film clip that you'll see this evening is a painful story. It is undeniably an emotional story. But to me, it's a patriotic story because it demonstrates the power that Americans have as citizens to improve our democracy and help fulfill its ideals. The content of the film is difficult and has some charged moments, but that's the hard history that we confront. And I would say one thing about the students and the way that they approach this is that they confronted that reality, but they also celebrated and emphasized the agency and the resilience of those who confronted it. So it's an empowering story in the end. And I'll hand it over to the co-sponsor, Mr. Owen Longacre, to reflect on our students and their work. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the school board and Superintendent Shiflett. It's good to be here again tonight and talk just a little bit about the great work that was happening at Spotswood High School and our Rockingham County students. In my brief time, I just want to highlight what these 5 young women have done over the past year. 2 of them are with us tonight. This is Cherith Bradshaw and Nicole Siptak. The other 3 that weren't able to make it were Priya Dua, Elizabeth Kidd, and Miriam Laux. And over the past year, these 5 young women really dedicated themselves to a project that they volunteered for. And over the past year, they put together over 14 hours of primary interviews, for which they then had to become video editing experts and take that down to about a 35-minute film. So what you'll see even tonight in the short clip is a lot of work for them to do while learning how to do it. That's the first thing I want to point out too. But the second is that these young women also became historians over the past year and incredible researchers. It was more than just going on Google and typing in some of our topics, but rather this search for history took them across the state to libraries in Charlottesville and Front Royal. They were able to conduct their interviews in Audubon and all their places across the state, and really immerse themselves in the story. I remember several days of calling libraries and asking for permissions and copyrights and all these things that show an incredible level of dedication. But lastly, over the past year, they became friends. And not just friends amongst themselves. I think they were that already to begin the project, but rather friends with the plaintiffs and the interviewees that they encountered. And that maybe was the most powerful part of this, in that they were able to recognize that these were people just like us, but people who were caught in a situation and were able to seize the moment and make the most of it. And I think one of the most powerful moments for me was watching the plaintiffs, who were high school students at the time, crying and being so thankful for the work that high school students had done when they were in high school themselves when this had happened. It really came full circle for them. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to the 2 young ladies that are with us here tonight, and they'll talk just a little bit more about the video. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the school board and Superintendent Shiflett. We appreciate you having us here, and Dr. Shiflett for inviting us to come speak to you about our project. I'm Cherith Bradshaw.
And I'm Nicole Siptak. And we just wanted to start by saying how important this was as a student-led research project that started as Mr. Longer said, a 14-hour kind of fiasco, and it ended up becoming a 30-minute documentary film that we were able to premiere at Court Square Theater in May this year.
So we want to start tonight by just sharing a brief trailer of our film. This is edited. Our original film was 30 minutes. This is only a 5-minute clip that we're going to share with you. And hopefully through this clip, you can see what the students had, a little bit of what the students had to endure through the process of massive resistance, but also their resiliency and how they overcame that.
Governor at that time, I think was Governor Almond, he proclaimed that there would never be an integration of schools, that before that would happen, he would lose his right arm.
That integration, mixing of the races, in great areas of Virginia would absolutely destroy public education.
I had nightmares that I was running after the school bus, but the school bus didn't stop to pick me up. I got to the school building and I couldn't find my locker. And then I would wake up and know I wasn't going to school. I had no school to go to.
Finally, in February of 1959, Federal Judge John Paul ordered the reopening of Warren County High School.
That this judge wasn't going to play games. He was going to abide by the law and enforce the law.
And of course, when the decision came from Judge Paul, he felt that our feelings was that he had heard enough of the back and forth and just made the final decision to open the schools immediately.
All of a sudden, in my 12th grade year, the teacher spoke up and asked, "Is there anyone here that would like to go to Warren County High School?" And I'm thinking, oh, I don't have to be bused anymore. And I don't know what came over me. My hand just shot up like somebody would have had a string on the end of my arm.
Warren County High School was forced to open its doors for the 21 black students on February 18, 1959.
The night before that we were supposed to go to the school, I was standing at the kitchen sink and I was washing dishes when shots was fired at the house. And I woke to my mother slapping down the face because she thought I had gotten shot.
Oh, that was a day and a half. I think every military person that was in the world was there. They had, I guess it was the Coast Guard, they had police, they had military people, because they weren't sure what was going to happen, because they hated us.
They let us off at the foot of the hill and went to walk past the crowd and up the hill to the school. And my brothers was in the car with me. And when we got out, this one white woman, she yelled, "We're gonna kill all you little niggas." All our parents said to us was, do not look back, keep walking, don't turn around.
And I don't understand how soldiers feel. It is a battle. And so you go back every day, whether you want to or not.
Many years passed before Warren County acknowledged the accomplishments of the only senior in the class of 1959.
And the only way that I got it, my high school diploma, was 19 years later.
The black students at the forefront of school desegregation paid an enormous price. As the children grew, so did their understanding of the necessity of such a sacrifice.
I can say that the one good thing out of all of it is my children. They did not have to go through what I had to go through. That is the one reason, I guess, behind all of it. That is the reason that I held my hand up, that I wanted to go to Warren County High School.
I think it should not be forgotten. Situation has made all of us very, very strong.
I still think it's the children that were the real heroes.
The legal system can force open doors and sometimes even knock down walls, but it cannot build bridges. That job belongs to you and me.
And since that video has been completed, there is a full version if anyone's interested on the Rocktown history page if anyone wants to see the full thing. But the question that a lot of times we get asked is why we chose to participate in a project like this and do this research on our own. And one of the first reasons was the story of school integration right now is skimmed over in history classes. According to the Virginia SOL standards, the history standards, it's only taught in 5th, 7th, and 11th grade. And a lot of times in history classes, students sort of tune out. It's taught through a facts and dates perspective, and they don't feel like it's relevant to them. And they feel like a lot of times we get caught in history occurred a long, long time ago, when in reality, these people are still alive that lived through these experiences. And so we wanted to share that, as well as we understood that those with firsthand experiences, the plaintiffs that we interviewed, they're aging and then they soon won't be around to share those stories. So that's what made this story so time sensitive to share. And that's a little bit of the why behind the reason we chose this.
So I'm going to address the process that we decided to take with this. We were lucky enough to get the advice from Mr. Dickinson to read the book We Face the Dawn by Margaret Edds, which focused on like a very general discussion of desegregation, but focused it in Virginia and focused on the attorneys that you heard about in the film of Oliver Hill and Spotswood Robinson. These two lawyers were ones that took these cases head on and helped get these in front of not only the Virginia Supreme Court, but the U.S. Supreme Court, and eventually to the Brown v. Board decision. And then from there, we were able to meet last summer, actually around this time, at Madison Mountain Regional Library and talk to a research specialist and then look at microfilm, which is a really cool way of seeing all of the daily news records from decades ago. And it was such an exciting moment for us, and I think that was it was so motivating, and it kept us wanting to go. It kept us becoming more immersed into this history. And we started it off with meeting State Judge John Paul, who is the nephew of the judge who passed down this legislature.
And then from there, we had a Zoom meeting with Miss Betty Kilby, who was the lead plaintiff in the entire Warren County versus school board, that case. And the first thing we did, we had all this information, but it was how do we get these in touch with these interviewees, which was a challenging process, months long, to get in contact with everyone. But we started pulling names from Betty Kilby's book, Whitwell and Walls. We had connections with previous interviewees. We talked to Betty Kilby, Judge John Paul, and from there we got more contact information. We also did a little bit of Facebook and internet investigations to find these people, and this was a difficult process, as many, especially with the Charlottesville 12, most of them have already passed away or moved away, and so it was hard to get in touch with them.
Yes, and when we were conducting these interviews, the one thing that we wanted to stress the most is that it didn't feel like an interrogation. Like, we brought them here to sit them down and just ask them questions about this harsh history that they endured. We wanted it to feel like more like a conversation, like kind of how your grandparents tell you stories. We wanted them to tell us their story. We didn't want to force it out of them. And in a way that paid off, because we got so much more than we could have ever asked for from these interviewees who were so brave to tell us their stories.
And one of the moments where we got to conduct a lot of these interviews was we took a day trip to Warren County. This is the old Warren County High School, which is now Skyline Middle School. So we got to look at that school, which was cool. We also visited the old Mosby Academy, which was the private school built for the white students during that time. This is some photos of us conducting the interviews that day at the library. And it started off, we didn't really know each other. So at first, it was a bit awkward getting to know everyone. But then at the end, we were all like very comfortable with each other. And this was one of the best times of our entire experience, was getting to, hear their stories, and that we were honored that they felt comfortable enough to share them with us. And here's just some more pictures of the behind the scenes.
And some of our biggest takeaways from this project was we learned how to conduct interviews and compile information into a documentary. This was a student-led project, but definitely we had many resources, such as our mentors and our interviewees, to help us kind of lead us down the right path and tell the story in the best way possible. We learned a lot about video editing, and it was definitely kind of shocking. We thought we knew so much about technology, and then we get into the software, and it's exploding onto us. We really had no idea. But through the works of each other and especially of Elizabeth Kidd, which is one of our teammates who helped us a ton with the video editing. We were able to make not only lasting friendships with our interviewees and each other, but we were able to make this amazing documentary that we are happy to debut. And then we will carry these lessons with us forever. One of the things that really stuck out is that this is more than just history. This very much applies and parallels into our daily lives today, where the voices of the youth are just as powerful and sometimes overlooked. And it's very important that we can listen and embrace each other, even though, there's an age gap.
And just as a special thank you to our mentors who helped us along, Mr. Dickinson and Mr. Longacre, and then to Rocktown History, who provided the grant money, much of the grant money for us, and then also you for having us here today. And then also we're grateful just for the opportunity to participate in a student-led project. That's one of our big takeaways from this, is how we would have never gotten the opportunity to do all this if the student-led project wasn't available for us. And so we are grateful for that. And yeah, we can open up for questions if you have any questions.
Thank you all very much. That was wonderful, and congratulations on all your success. Board members, do you have any questions?
I don't have a question, but I do want to say that I was there for the premiere, and it was it was as packed as I've ever seen Court Square Theater. So congratulations on drawing a crowd, but congratulations on the work you've done. You deserve to be quite proud of what you've accomplished. The entire evening was moving, and you deserved every standing ovation that you got. And thank you so much for coming and presenting this evening.
Thank you.
Ms. Siptak and Ms. Bradshaw, tell the rest of the group just how proud we are of what you guys have created here in this documentary. And I have watched the full documentary as well, and it is outstanding. I hope this is something that we're able to share with all of our students in the future as we go forward as a division as well, that they can watch what you guys have put together and what you have documented in history to pass down. Because one of the things I got out of the documentary that I thought was really cool was that the ones that you interviewed here, there were 21, but how many did you interview altogether?
Like
7 or 8.
Yeah.
7 or 8. Well, a lot through the documentary, they didn't come across as victims. They came across as overcomers, and they talked about their faith in God. They talked about their faith in the Holy Scriptures, and they talked about what got them through this most terrific, horrible experience of their lives, and how that they did this for another generation ahead of them. And that was so impacting to see that these people that you interviewed, they endured some of the most horrible things we can imagine, and they came out with their heads up. And not only that, but we're better today because of their decisions to say, yes, I'll go. So thank you guys so much for all the time and the effort that you put into it. This is an amazing piece that you guys have put together. Okay.
Thank you.
Guys.
And I want to make a couple comments. A little known fact about me is that when I was your age, I made a documentary, and it went to the National History Day. I was national competitor. Is that still a thing, Mr. Dickinson?
It is.
Are we entered in that?
You're not.
We should be entered in that because their video way better than my video. And I actually wound up National History Day and wound up in College Park, Maryland. And way better. Now, I think your equipment was a little bit better. I had to go to the TV station with a board this big. But outstanding job. And I know that you will carry this with you from experience. I know that you will carry this with you the rest of your lives, even if you don't go. Do you have any interest in going into filmmaking or? Not really. Yeah, no, food scientist, now farmer. So, but what you learned, you'll carry with you, and you can use it in all sorts of applications that you don't even dream of yet. So congratulations, and look into National History Day because these girls got a shot. Okay, thank you very much.
And both of you guys graduated, right?
I'm a senior.
All right.
I graduated.
All right. And what are you doing next?
I'm headed to Liberty, majoring in law and policy on the pre-law track.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. All right. Ms. Siptak, what's your plans?
I hope to go into biological science, then follow the pre-med track.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, good luck to both of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, and that concludes our recognitions and presentations for the evening. We will now move on into public comments. I'm going to remind the room that our public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. You need to address the board as a whole, and that you need to respect the pillars of character. And I believe the first person on our list is Nancy Bassett.
Good evening, Chairman Lohr, School Board, and Dr. Shiflett. I just wanted to take a moment of privilege as the President of the Education Association to welcome you as the new superintendent. And I want to say how much I appreciated your work last year when I've asked for a while, and it's taken a while to get things pulled together for professional development for our paraeducators. And we really do appreciate all of your hard work, and I'm truly looking forward to working with you and the school board this year. So welcome.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Bo Taylor. Baylor, I'm sorry, did I say Taylor? Baylor.
Hi, I'm Bo Baylor, and I will be speaking on behalf of my teammate and friend Ricky Benner. Since late spring, when he was removed from team activities, I've seen Ricky work extremely hard to keep himself healthy and improve as a football player, even though he doesn't know if he will be able to play. Ricky and I go to the same trainer, and those are the hardest training sessions I've ever done. Ricky has shown a ton of effort and has made it clear that he wants to be part of our team. I understand that the punishment of having poor school standing includes taking away extracurricular activities. I hope that you understand that for most student athletes, our commitments to our teams and sports is what keeps us engaged, focused, and determined to do well in the classroom and stay out of trouble. Football makes you dedicated to something more than yourself. Many of us here today have played football with Ricky since we were 8 or 9 years old. He brings good humor to the team and is friendly to everyone, but also will do anything to help the team. At the end of the school year, Ricky had about 55 days done towards his 90-day suspension. Since the last day of school, there have already been 15 more days that we have had football activities that he hasn't been able to participate in, but also haven't counted against his suspension. If you counted the days of activities he has missed this summer against his 90-day suspension, he would be eligible to return mid-August. I hope after this evening you have a better understanding of how important Ricky being on the team is, not only to him, but all of us. I believe Ricky deserves to get to play his senior year at Turner Ashby High School, and hope you'll allow that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bo. Next, we have Stacy Benner.
Good evening, school board members and Superintendent Shiflett. My name is Stacy Benner. This is my family, Rick, Ricky, Liam, and Christian. We are here today to speak to you about our son, Ricky. As you may or may not know, Ricky was found with prohibited items in his vehicle during a parking lot sweep at Turner Ashby back on March 8th. As part of his punishment, he was given 90 days of poor school standing. The most important takeaway from this punishment is the fact that because the 90 days of poor school standing continues through the summer, ending the latter part of October, Ricky will not be allowed to play football for Turner Ashby at all his senior year of high school. Our family has worked tirelessly with many of the parents you see before you here today, even creating a travel football team to act as a feeder for all of the Rockingham County's JV and varsity football teams. These boys that are here today have been playing together since they were 8, and some even before that. This has created a supportive community of people that we call our football family. Every year for the last 3 years, as we approach the middle of August, the feeling becomes electric for us as our football family gears up for another season of Turner Ashby football. All of us join together to cheer, laugh, and cry for our sons. For many of these boys, including Ricky, this will be their final senior year of football. But this year will be different for Ricky. Because of the mistake that happened in March, Ricky will not be joining his teammates for their final year of high school football. Per your policy, JFCF, he cannot even attend his brother Liam's JV football games. We all understand where the school board was coming from when you all approved this policy. What you all were thinking was, we'll show everybody we're really tough on these sorts of behaviors and it will be a deterrent. What you're really saying with this policy is this. We, as a Rockingham County School Board members and administrators, will support you as much as a public school can until you make a mistake. And then you're on your own, ostracized from all sports teams, clubs, and the RCPS community. As a parent, I love my kids unconditionally, and this is what good parents do. Whether 17 or 7, kids are kids. One of their many jobs is to make mistakes while they're young. As the adults in charge, some of our most important jobs are to love them unconditionally, support them when they make mistakes, and help them to make better decisions in the future. From our perspective, your rule, your policy that you passed does none of these things. There are literally hundreds of volunteer opportunities in Rockingham County. Do you all make it mandatory to sign up for any of these and make this an actual constructive punishment? The answer here is no, you don't. They are isolated from their community no matter the effect that it has on their mental health. I know I'm running out of time. I just want to say that for every single one of you here that's taken time out of your Monday to show up here to support our family, emailed and called administrators that have reached out to us and cried alongside us through this, we love all of you and are grateful for you and the many memories that we've created together. No matter what, we know that our boys are going to do great things.
Next, we have Chad and Shannon Pettit.
Hello. Could we extend this to 6 minutes since it's both of us? I didn't know. I didn't sign up. I'm on my own.
Come here and sign up, and you can do 3 minutes, and then we'll do everybody else, and then you can do the next 3 minutes. Yeah. Which one are you? Okay. Okay. So do your 3, and then we'll come back. Chad.
Thank you. We're Chad and Shana Pettit. We want to welcome Dr. Larry Shiflett and thank you all for this opportunity. We're here to speak on behalf of Ricky Benner. I've known the Benner family for over 20 years and have known little Ricky since he was born. Ricky is a bright young man and an honor roll student at Turner Ashby High School. He is not known at TA as a troublemaker, nor has he ever caused any major trouble at the school. The teachers and staff at Turner Ashby High School would also testify of him being a good student. He comes from a successful family and is surrounded by many supporters of his football family here tonight. We are all here truly as a family. We all have gotten into mischief from time to time, and we've all been there, being young and irresponsible at least once in our lives and would deserve a second chance. I would really like for you all to take a minute and go back to your high school days. Were you perfect? Did you ever make any mistakes? If so, did you ever get the opportunity of a second chance or wish that you did? This group of boys that you see before you, we are all a close-knit group of whom most of them have played football together since rec league in the 3rd grade. Them playing together, and especially their senior year in high school, means everything to them and also to us as their parents. I agree and understand that athletes are held to a higher standard and that consequences should be served for those who do wrong. And I have to strongly also disagree with the degree of punishment to taking this into the following year of him not playing football, especially with it being his senior year. I hope that every individual in this room right now would see the best option for our students involved of not being able to play sports their senior year in high school due to a first offense. I see this as too far great of a punishment. This is also not only affecting his entire future of taking this away, but also affecting him and his family and friends' mental health. Ricky would like to take his football career to the next level and could be eligible for scholarships for college. You want to take these opportunities away from him for a first offense, with no other options of a second chance. Please tell me how this is the best option for any student. I ask why you are not implementing positive reinforcements instead of taking away. Why are we not taking into consideration of our students' mental health?
Thank you. And then I'm just going to go ahead and move you up to right there. Okay. Restart the timer.
Yeah, we're good. It started. I just wanted to make sure I had a chance just to talk about second chances in my life. And I've had many, not many, but a few. And it was, I learned from each and every one of them. It wasn't like somebody was just letting me go. Mr. Ricky here he's been reprimanded by his parents, by the Rockingham Sheriff's Department, County Sheriff's Department, and 8 months for the school. You know, it just seems like a little overkill to me. I know football's been a huge part of my life. If it wasn't for football, I'd have never made it to college. I'm glad I had the experience to go. My grades weren't good enough, but I made it because of football. And to take away his senior year, I mean, to have 3.5 months in a semester to discipline a kid for something they did, and it's a big offense. But to me, you can be punished in a 3.5 month time period. Plus, he had the entire summer, as Mr. Baylor talked about, stuff going on all the time. My son's at football stuff a couple times a week, and none of that stuff is going towards poor school standings, from what I understand. Yeah, I'd just like to take a second look at it, look at your policy. And what do you have here?
Can you just read that?
Okay, this punishment started in March of this year and has been weighing on him since. His parents have offered to pay to have testing done each week. Ricky would gladly like to do diversion or community service, mediation, drug and alcohol programs. There's other ways to do this than to take away this young man's senior football season. Please consider these other alternatives to better help our students versus making things worse by taking away positive things such as good health, discipline, sportsmanship, friendship, and playing time, along with affecting his good academic standing in Turner Ashby High School. That's one to help our students' mental health, not hurt them. And that pretty much caps everything I have to say. And some of y'all know my story here recently. I see that the dear Lord gave me a second chance at life, and I walk different every day. And I just like y'all to take a look at everything and help this young man out. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Sandy Benner Shomo.
Good evening.
This is my mother.
This is my mother. It's Margaret. And my husband and my son. I'm Sandy Benner Shomo. I was a 1963 graduate of Turner Ashby High School. So this is my 60th year. We will have our class reunion in the fall. And first of all, I would like to talk about my husband, my first husband, who was Richard Willis Benner Sr., my son's father and my grandson's grandfather. Dick was a Harrisonburg High School graduate. He played football at Harrisonburg. I played at TA. We were rivals. I cheered against his football team in high school. In 1965, we were married. So he has been very instrumental in football, coached my son's little league football teams. A lot of the boys here were under his coaching. He loved all those boys, and he was a founder of the Turner Ashby Booster Club. He started that. And from here on, it has gone to be, my son was a member of it, my daughter-in-law, a lot of people here help with the Booster Club, with the children at the football games. Excuse me, I'm gonna turn my page. Ricky has two younger brothers that are coming up in the Turner Ashby school system. Liam will be a freshman playing JV football, and Ricky's going to be punished by not being able to see his younger brother play football, and this breaks my heart. It really does. So I hope that this can be resolved before the end of the summer. Just a few words about Ricky. Last year, after winning a football game, he looked around for his youngest brother, Christian, and Christian came running to Ricky and jumped up onto Ricky, hugged him around the neck, and Ricky put his football helmet, when Christian was down, put his football helmet on Christian because he loves his little brothers. Liam, he picks Liam up from school almost every day or after football practice, and they ride together just about every evening in the summer to get ice cream. So that's the kind of kid.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next speaker is Joe Shoker.
Well, I could talk 30 minutes to hours about second choices, second chances, and how important a young man's senior year is of playing football. But tonight, I'm here to say good evening, board members. Hope your summer is going well. And I'm here specifically to congratulate Dr. Larry Shiflett and welcome him as the new superintendent. You're one of us. You're a Rockingham County Public School student, an athlete whom I coached, a graduate, a teacher, an administrator, and now our superintendent. Well done. I was not here for the year's end report to the community on the RCPS Community Dialogue Committee, and I just wanted to say that I believe its purpose was a big success. It could serve as a model for other school divisions to restore trust and communication. We did not intend to dictate policy, but rather to breach the divide between conflicting opinions and calm the rancor that had gripped our school division in public forums, including these meetings. Dialogue amongst all stakeholders, especially those in disagreement with each other, is a critical aspect of any organization to move forward and to be productive. It requires members that have the ability to coexist. The early formative members of this group were established community and school leaders who demonstrated the ability to sit at a table and have useful dialogue, simply to listen to each other. Then the group grew to 100 county residents all listening to each other to finish out this school year. Any public leadership group must have the ability to hear and legally work through all sides and positions of issues. Again, to coexist, to be productive. Sadly, our community dialogue initiative was maligned for its effort, to the point of one of our parents' forums on social media here in the area censored, then banned 8 members of our collective And they were parents and stakeholders, and they were kicked out, including myself and school board candidate Paula Lamb. So today I'm very excited to have you, Dr. Shiflett, to work with, as well as some new school board members, and potentially to have a parent on the board, on the school board, such as Paula Lamb, who brings her public school insights after having 4 RCPS students. Her Spotswood president of the PTA, her REFI board of directors work, and her established professional skills in policy writing, budgeting, and committee collaborations to our board. Deliberations of the county.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Paula Lamb.
Good evening, members of the board, and welcome, Superintendent Shiflett. It's good to see you all this evening. My name is Paula Lamb, and I am now a parent of 1 student in Rockingham County Public Schools, and I'll try to say that without tears in my eyes because my second son has graduated, and so now we have 3 graduates of Spotswood High School, and we couldn't be more proud of our boys. The school year, though, is fast approaching. And I would like to follow up on what I presented to the board in May. Transparency is key to fostering healthy relationships between parents, students, and teachers. I have been a parent of students in RCPS schools since books and papers were the method of instruction. A lot has changed. It was a daily conversation in our home about what they learned in school and how I could help them achieve success. Then we would follow up by cracking open a book and reviewing the work that they had brought home. Now I have children in the technological age where information is flowing faster than ever before, and I have less access to my students' records than I did before technology. It should be the opposite in this technology age. I am requesting that our board review policy IZE, Grading, Promotion, and Reporting Student Progress, Section 2, under Pupil Reporting. Please consider adding parental view-only access to our students' work on Schoology and Google Classroom. After researching Schoology's website and consulting with teachers on Google Classroom, this request is a simple flip of a toggle switch by the parent, or by the teacher, excuse me. My request brings the second bulleted item under that policy, the folders of the student's work, into the technological age in which we are now living. Having access to this information will allow parents to see the progress that our students are making on a regular basis, and the transparency will allow parents to view the curriculum that is being taught, follow along with our students' progress, and assist the teachers in sending prepared students to classes that are ready to learn. Access to this information does require a lot of responsibility on the parents as well to have constructive conversation with teachers and administrators. My next concern is that of the educational progress of our students. I would like to hear how RCPS SOL scores are compared to 5, 10, and even 20 years ago. This is a concern of mine because I have heard some stories from parents that their children's scores have been going down since entering school. The educational success of our students is imperative to the growth and viability of not only our community, but our country. I would like to see RCPS schools lead the way.
Thank you. And our final speaker for tonight is John Darley.
Charles Dickens lived on Dowdy Street.
Dowdy, okay.
If you're an English major. My name's John Dowdy, and I'm delighted to stand before the board, first time ever at a school board. And I just want to welcome and concur with the remarks of my colleague to welcome our newly appointed superintendent. So glad to have you, and you are one of us. And we're just wishing you many blessings. Lived here for 25 years in the Rockingham, Bridgewater area, and drive a school bus 7 years, Rockingham County. They gave me the worst assignment, Briary Branch, Alvin Estep. And so a little bit of bona fides. I've had 5 students in Rockingham County, 4 at Turner Ashby. This isn't the first case that I'm aware of as a parent. My older daughter, Anna, was playing basketball, girls basketball, had a great season at TA. It was senior night. The pictures, the posters of all the seniors were on the wall in the gym. We were walking in. We had flowers to give. The parents were invited to present to their student who would be announced. One of our teammates was crying in tears, being escorted out by the deputy. Maybe some people remember that. And there was a sting, and some things were caught in her car. And that concerned me because I'm not sure if my kids even lock their doors in the school parking lot. And I thought to myself, of all times to have a sting, the timing could not have been worse. And that girl was brokenhearted and went out in tears. I follow on social media. I think she's going to make it, but there was her picture on the wall, the parents, the flowers. A true story as I flash back. My son Homer is away at camp, and he's one of Ricky Benner's teammates. He said, Dad, Mom and Dad, would you go to support the Benner family? And I'm here with many parents. I've coached with Mr. Benner, and nobody's mentioned that he's my well driller. He's dug a lot of wells in this Rockingham County, and want to appreciate your service, Ricky. Dug my well and helped me many times, but we've coached together. But it's about Ricky. It's about a young man. I would like to believe, I don't know people's hearts. I believe that you give second chances. I'm thankful to the Spotswood student, that picture of Judge Paul. I've had the opportunity to stand before Judge Paul. He was a merciful judge. Judge Paul was a very merciful judge. And I want to hearken back to the book of James. James says that mercy triumphs over judgment. Mercy triumphs over judgment. If we extend mercy to others, we will receive mercy ourselves. I would like to believe that you will give him a second chance, and just want to work together as a parent and hopefully be able to pull through. He's an athlete. Homer won't even let me eat a Snicker. And I would like to see him back on the field. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our public comment for this evening. Thank you to all of our speakers. Next on the agenda is highlights by board members, and we're going to start with Mr. Cross.
I just also want to say welcome. Good to have you here. It's, you know, we prayed at the very beginning of the whole superintendent search as a board, and I really believe that God did lead it, the right man for the right time to help lead this school division. And so I'm very thankful to have Dr. Shiflett lead the division, and I'm looking forward to working with you for many years to come. You know, I prayed for as long as you want to have this job, that you'll stay for that long. And I pray God's blessing over you and also your family as you take on this position. So you're my highlight tonight.
Thank you.
And I'm very thankful to have you sitting in this position. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. Dr. McQuilkin?
Thank you, Chair Lower. Of course, Mr. Cross, you stole my thunder. However, I'd like to say I concur. But I also like to say something to Cherith. I don't know if Cherith remembered, but we had lunch together at the governor's school. Yes, we did. And Nicole, I think you two plus the 3 others. Would you name the 3 other people again, please? Elizabeth Kidd?
And Miriam Wow.
We thank them. We thank you for the fantastic job you did. This project will live forever here in Rockingham County, but also in your lives. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. McQuilkin. Mr. Falk? Thank you. Well, I would also like to welcome Mr. Shiflett, or Dr. Shiflett, sorry. Very excited to have you on board, very excited for the work ahead of us. And just because it's summer doesn't mean that our work has stopped. We've got lots of things coming up in July for us to work together as a board to become a more cohesive unit. So I'm looking forward to that. But I've spent June basically getting ready for state FFA convention, which I was honored to drive the luggage bus. They don't trust me with actual children. I got to take the luggage down. And then I did drive children around Virginia Tech and got to talk to kids and see the leadership experiences that they were all having and see them participate in contests. And then at the end of the week, it was exciting to see that Rockingham County Schools have another Virginia FFA state officer, and that would be Mr. Nate Zirkle was elected or nominated or whatever it's called to be state FFA vice president. And if that name sounds a little bit familiar to you, that would be Jerry Will's grandson. And Jerry, we honored at our school board meeting a couple of months ago by naming, what was it, the tool room at MTC in his honor because he was an MTC family member who was killed in an auto accident. So I was just super excited to see that and just super honored to be part of that event for our children. And then lots of other fun stuff coming up in July and August that I'm looking forward to. But most of all, working with you, Dr. Shiflett. And now it's your turn.
All right, well, thank you. First of all, I apologize that the AC doesn't seem to be working very well. The jacket's come off, the tie's coming off shortly. It's hot. But I do want to say thank you to everyone for the warm welcome and reception from the board members, but other folks who've spoken and the people that I've been visiting with. It's been really great, and I appreciate the prayers, Mr. Cross. I've shared with some of my closest friends, you know, sometimes I feel a little bit like Solomon when he came into his kingship, and he said, I really don't know how to come and go, but I just pray for just a heart of wisdom and an understanding heart that I can discern the hearts of the people. And that's sort of my prayer. I want to be able to discern the hearts of the people and do what's best by all of our students. That's my pledge, and it's not easy. I already know it's not easy because I've already getting emails from people about different things, and we can't make everyone happy. That's not what we're here to do. But we do want to make Rockingham County Public Schools the best that we can be, and we have work to do. I acknowledge that, and we'll talk a little bit about my 100-day plan and information item for those of you who can endure the heat. But I understand if you scurried away, and also just excited that. You know, summer school for elementary and middle school kids start tomorrow. So we're happy to have kids back in our building for another 3 weeks and get to work with them because it's the students that make the school. It's not the buildings, it's the kids that are in them. So thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes highlights, although welcome to the hot seat. I don't think anybody else is hot. I think it's just you. And I can assure you, at least the seat, I think that Mr. Falk is in. The air conditioning works great there in December. So I was always cold over there. But yes, definitely welcome to the hot seat. Next, we'll move into our action items. And the first items on our agenda are the minutes, and I'm going to combine those minutes and ask for approval from the board for all 3 sets of minutes from June 12th, June 13th, and June 29th. Members, do I have a motion as such?
Motion to follow the recommendation.
No, we're on minutes. So approve the minutes as
Minutes,
presented.
top of the list, sorry.
Okay.
For
That's what we're
13th
gonna-
to 29th.
That works.
Thank you.
Yeah, do we want to pause and let hey, if they leave, it gets cooler in here. Just saying. Love you all, but we'll pause and let you all leave. It is getting cooler. Thank you. Wow. Any of y'all remember? Okay, I'm going to go with it. We have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Thank you, Dr. McQuilkin. Is there any discussion on the minutes as presented? Hearing none. Yeah, we can vote. There's 3 of us here. Hearing none. We'll vote on the motion for approval of the, let me get this, June 12th, June 13th, and June 29th minutes. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Oh, very good. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. We'll now move on to the VSBA Annual Convention Delegate and Alternate Delegate selection. Traditionally, this is the chair and the vice chair. So do I have a motion for, first do I have a motion to nominate anyone? I guess I can go ahead and make that motion, right? Okay. It's okay for me to make motion. I move that I serve as the VSBA Annual Convention Delegate and Dr. McQuilkin serve as the alternate delegate. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Cross. Is there any discussion? Do either of you all would like to do it?
Thank you. Excellent choice.
Oh, thank you. Yay. It's such an exciting meeting too. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the resolution authorizing the superintendent to reassign personnel. Dr. Shiflett, can you explain this one to us? Or do I need to do that?
This is a resolution that we bring before the board each year that.
You're not on. I don't know how to do.
Yeah.
You're, nope. No, now turn it on. Now you're on. So you have the red light on your mark on your.
Okay. So each year we bring this resolution to the board that allows the superintendent to move personnel as needed and necessary. We do not do that often or exercise that authority, but it is there if needed.
Thank you. Members, do I have a motion to pass the resolution that Larry Shiflett, Division Superintendent, be authorized to reassign principals, assistant principals, and teachers to any school within the division during the 2023-24 school year?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. Do I have a second? Thank you, Dr. McQuilkin. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. I'm sorry. All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none now the motion carries unanimously. Next, we have bills and mileage. Dr. Shiflett.
All right, Chair Lohr and members of the board, you have in the bills and mileage from the June 2023 in your packet. I recommend approval of the June 2023 bills as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Shiflett. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the bills and mileage as recommended by the superintendent.
Thank you, Dr. McQuilkin. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Cross. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote on approving the bills and mileage as presented. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda, we have the bid recommendation for the Linville Edom Elementary School sewer system. Mr. Steve Reed.
Chair Lower, Dr. Shiflett, members of the board. We put the bid together for the sewer renovations at Linville Edom. We sent it to 5 firms. It was recommended by our design team. We had one firm that attended the pre-bid, and that one firm did submit a price. I would note that we checked with the other bidders, and they weren't interested because they were too busy. They didn't have time to prepare a bid. We actually put the bid date off. And we put on the bid form, we didn't have a completion date for the project. We said, you tell us if we award it, give you the go-ahead on July 11th, when can you have it done? And that's still, we got one bid. So JB Foltz Contracting out of Mount Jackson submitted a bid of $838,139.44, and our recommendation is to award them the contract.
Chair Lord and board members, I recommend awarding the contract for the sewer renovations at Linville Edom Elementary School to GB Foltz Contracting in the amount of $383,139.44.
Thank you.
That's 838.
No, I'm sorry, 838, sorry.
As presented.
Yep, as presented, yeah.
Thank you. Members, have a motion?
I'm honored to move to follow the superintendent's recommendation to award the contract for the sewer renovations at Linville Edom Elementary School to the low bidder as presented by
Steve Reed, Director of Maintenance.
Thank you, Mr. Falk. And I'm going to go ahead and second that. Is there any discussion?
Again, thank you so much for making this happen.
Long time coming, long time coming.
The public is very happy of this and just all the hard work you put in to get this done. So thank you again, Steve, for making this possible.
And this then fixes it, right? This is what we need to have a sewer system.
This is a sewer treatment system that will do clean discharge to a stream there beside the school. It will require annual monitoring, or actually daily monitoring and maintenance, that will be contracted at this point, probably to Bowden Environmental, which was part of the design team.
Great. And it's obviously big enough for this school capacity?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, we actually did it. I can't remember the exact number, but we made the size of the system a little bit larger than the capacity of the school right now, just in case.
Good call. Yeah. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of accepting the proposal or the low bid presented by Steve Reed, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Wonderful. Thank you very much. And now we have TAHS rooftop air handler replacement. Also you, Mr. Reed.
Next bid, we have the Turner Ashby High School rooftop air handler replacement. This would be the 2 units that are on the addition that was put on the building in about 2002. So these units are 20 plus years old, and they are, I believe, 22 units. We sent the bid package to 6 firms. We had 1 firm respond with a sealed bid. That would be Riddleberger Brothers in the amount of $393,238. And our recommendation is to award that contract to Riddleberger Brothers in that amount.
Chair Lord and board members, I recommend awarding the contract for the rooftop handler replacement at Turner Ashby High School to Riddleberger Brothers as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Shiflett.
I move that we follow the superintendent's recommendation regarding the contract for the rooftop handler replacement.
Thank you, Dr. McQuilkin. Do I have a second? Oh, golly, that was close. Thank you, Mr. Cross. Is there any discussion? They're 20 years old.
Yeah.
I saw on the news this morning that Lennox is running a contest for the oldest air conditioning unit in the area. We should totally enter that.
We have some.
I'll bet we've got some old ones.
We have some that are older than 20 years, yes.
Yeah, I feel like MTC is super old, isn't it?
They have some units there, yes.
We could get a new one. Maybe, probably not. But
probably not.
But But it is a testament to you and your staff to show how well you maintain our equipment. So thank you very much. Is there any further discussion? Enter in the contest. You should just enter it. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. And finally, we have you with Plains has an HVAC control replacement.
Yes, the next bid I have, and I'd like to say at this point that this bid and the last bid is all part of a state grant through COVID that was a 50-50 match. So this is all part of that process where we received, I think it was about $2.2 million
Oh, wow.
through this. So all of this is part of that, either the match or the reimbursable part. The bid for HVAC control replacement at Plains was properly specified and advertised. We had sent it to 7 firms again, and we had 2 firms attend a pre-bid, and those 2 firms did submit bids. Riddleberger Brothers in the amount of $198,723, and Southern Air in the amount of $323,348. Our recommendation is to award the contract to the low bidder, Riddleberger Brothers, in that amount.
Thank you.
Chair Lord and board members, I recommend awarding the contract for the HVAC control replacement at Plains Elementary School to Riddleberger Brothers as presented.
Thank you. Board members? Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Cross. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Yeah, I got you. Thank you, Mr. Falk. Is there any discussion?
Quite a bit of difference between the 2 bids.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. That's all I can say.
Interesting. Well, thank you very much for all of your work on this, and especially thank you for pursuing the grant. That's awesome. Any further discussion?
The bids go out, how does that go to a couple of specific companies and out to that open?
We post it on the website. We also send it to the usual list of characters in the area. In the area, in this case, being from Winchester to Roanoke.
Okay.
That have the capabilities, we feel like, to do these jobs. And anybody else that would call us and say, hey, when next time you have a blah, blah bid, we'd like to be included, we'll put them down and do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the low bid for the Plains Elementary School HVAC control replacement, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda, we have policy revisions by Ms. Tennell. And welcome.
Thanks, everyone. Chair, Lord, members of the board, and Dr. Shiflett, welcome. On June 12th, I brought some policies to you for review, and tonight I'm coming to ask for action on those. And so I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about those policies.
Board members, any questions? Good to go. I had one question, and I believe Dr. Shiflett looked into it for me.
Okay.
And I just remembered it when you walked up here, so I apologize for not being prepared. There was one place where, and Dr. Shiflett, do you remember there it is, BHB, we strike elected for each board member completes training, but we don't strike training for the FOIA, but then we don't strike elected. Each elected board member completes a training session. So it's only the elected, right? That need, it's only the elected board members that need to take the COIA training. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm not sure I can answer your question. I'm hoping Dr. Shiflett can
basically,
help me.
Dr. Shiflett checked with Caitlin, and we're definitely good, right? Yes, she's saying yes. Okay.
I think the issue here was the reason the elected was stricken from all of those policies is because there are some boards in the Commonwealth of Virginia that are not elected. they are appointed. So therefore, by striking elected, you're meaning all school board members, whether they're elected or appointed, all school board members must participate in these trainings.
But
That
they
was the
don't
reason.
have to, they don't have to have COIA training if they're not elected. Only once they're elected do they have to have the COIA training. They still have to do the COIA filing, is the way this is written. But I trust Caitlin to have it 100%
I'm
correct.
sure she will.
I was just questioning it because we're probably going to have a little situation coming up, and I wanted to make sure that we had it correct and that we do the proper training. So, but Caitlin's over there telling me, yes, yes, definitely.
They talked about this in my clerk's conference at the national convention that we went to last November. So we are good.
We're good.
We
Okay.
double checked. I looked with Dr. Shiflett, so we're good.
Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Schiffer, and thank you, Becky. Any further questions? Okay. Hearing none, we'll vote on, oh, no, wait, hearing none, we'll have a recommendation, right? Because we haven't had that part yet.
True. Chair Lord and board members, I recommend approval of the proposed policy revisions as presented by Mrs. Tennell.
Thank you, Dr. Schiffer. Now, do we have a motion? Thank you, Dr. McQuilkin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. Now, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the policies as presented, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you so much for all your work on that and everyone's work on that.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our action items for the evening. We'll now move on to information items, and we have a superintendent report. Our very first superintendent report from
All
Dr.
right, exciting. All right. Hope it's memorable. So, and part of the interview process for the job of superintendent, the board had asked me to do an entry plan. And so some of this you may have heard before, board members, but I want to bring it back, revisit this entry plan, as well as make this knowledgeable to the public, to our community. Part of, you'll hear me talk about tonight, is transparency. So the purpose of this plan, I'm thinking about 100 days as working days, so not Saturdays and Sundays, although I worked a few hours this weekend at the office. And thinking about, getting up well into the school year and looking to just make this transition as smooth as possible. Changes can sometimes be hard, especially in leadership roles. When I think about this role, I want to think about leadership and what leadership is in Rockingham County and what it means to me. It's about integrity, it's about excellence, and it's about all students. And for me, integrity is about servant leadership. I'm here to serve my community and to lead the school division. And it's about transparency to all stakeholders. We have no secrets to hide. We're partnering with families and parents to educate their children and also to have a level of accountability. So how are we doing and what does that look like? Also, a commitment to excellence. A quote that I really like is, good enough is the enemy of excellence. And so I'm really not interested in being good enough. I'm not a fan of participation trophies. I like to win. I like to be the best. I want to do all that we can do because that's what our students deserve. And so I want us to set high expectations for our students, our teachers, our employees, but I also know that we need to couple with that high levels of support. So just saying to students or employees, here are the high expectations, but there has to be support so that they can be successful. And doing that in a shared ownership way, right? What are these expectations and what are we trying to accomplish and what matters the most to our students? And then all students. I want us to create classrooms where every student, they're loved, they're cared for, they're valued by our teachers, by everyone, right? Our bus drivers, food service workers. It takes all of us and to serve all students. And there's a quote that I like that Fisher, Frey, and Hattie has that says, every student deserves a great teacher, not by chance, but by design. And so my hashtag sort of since in the last month or so has been by design, not chance. So as we think about what we're doing, we're not going to be haphazard. We're going to be very strategic, and it's going to be by design for all students. And we want to empower our students. Earlier, we saw the presentation from two of our high school students and just blown away about what they can accomplish. And we want them to be empowered to, if it's employment and they want to leave high school and work, that's great. We want them to be in that position to be successful. If it's enrollment and going to college or trade school or enlisted to serve in our military, we're trying to raise independent adults to be in our community. And so to do this, I'm thinking about, our sort of 4 goals for this first 100 days. And obviously I always start with students, right? So think about student safety, which is extremely important to me. It always has been as a parent of 2 kids that graduated from Rockingham County Schools. As a principal, safety is important, but also achievement. How are our students, where are they in the learning process? Are they making the gains that we want and in their engagement with school? Also governance and school board relations, how we work together as a team is really important to me. School and community relations, and focusing on what's happening this year and then thinking about beyond. And in all this work, Stephen Covey says, keep the main thing the main thing. And it's always about the students and how whatever we do should be supporting their growth, their development, their learning. And so to do this, I have 4 sort of actions that I'm going to take. And first is to listen. Stephen Covey said, seek first to understand and to be understood. So as I'm meeting with various stakeholder groups, whether it's administrators or teachers or students, I want to listen to understand their perspective, right? Because we all see the world through a different set of lenses, and I need to understand people's perspectives. And so that's going to be part of one of my actions. Another one is to build. I'm a strong proponent of relationships. I think that's what makes Rockingham County a great place to live, is the relationships we have within our communities, our towns, our neighborhoods. And I have lots of relationships, but I need to reinforce and nurture those, but also to expand my area of influence and make new connections. And so part of my work the first 100 days is building. And then assessing. Right, as I'm talking to folks and listening and gathering information, looking at data, trying to understand and determine, where are we with our, SOL scores. I want to focus on more than that, but that's important, right? That is a measure, and so we have to look at that. And actually, even looking at getting a consultant to come in and do an external audit, so more of an anonymous, hey, we're looking out from the outside in, this is what we're seeing, to help again, shape our focus for this year and what's coming, and then to plan with the board and with our leadership team, and to say, okay, what do we need to pay attention to 23, 24, and then work on a process to create a strategic plan that we would start sometime, hopefully this fall, and would take us well into the spring as we get, new board members coming on, and what does that look like, and then that helps us make decisions, whether it's budget or finance and personnel, is this aligned with our overall 5-year plan and what we're trying to accomplish? I'm not going to get into the weeds of all of these little pieces, but when it comes to student engagement and safety and achievement, I've already started meeting. I've had 14 meetings so far since I started on Wednesday, I guess was my first day. And I've been just sitting down and having conversations and learning and listening. And I'm already beginning to see some threads, but I'm not finished yet. I'm just getting started. And again, talked about maybe working with an external agent, or, coordinate with someone to come in and give us some feedback. I'm working with our executive cabinet. That's really important, leadership for our school division. And all of the members of that executive cabinet are new to their positions except for one, Dr. Alderfer, right? He's still in the same role, academic support, academic leadership and support, but everyone else is new players. Ms. Donna Abernathy is there, and Mr. Moyers and Dr. Painter. And so we need to spend time building that team and our capacity as well. And so we're planning a 2-day retreat in August to work on that as well. to look at our paraprofessional development for PD. I mean, that includes our paraprofessionals. We're working on that, and what does that look like to continue on that growth? But for all of our administrators and teachers, it's all about being better. That's how you achieve excellence, right? Continual process. Governance, you guys are very well aware, the school board members, that we have a retreat planned this Wednesday with Dr. Harris, and he's going to be spending time with us and helping build up our team and our camaraderie and our relationships and how we work together. And then I know we have another work session coming up in July, and so this is a continual process as well, making sure that, you know, that we are in a good place to lead our division. And then again, school and community relations, I just committed myself to meeting and greeting and being here and there and everywhere. And my calendar is full already, and and that's a good thing. It's all good stuff. But meeting with our elected officials and our community leaders, our parent advisories, teacher advisory, classified advisory, student advisories, special ed committee, MTC. I don't want to go maybe just name every group, but my goal is to be present and to listen, right, and build as I'm doing this. Being connected, we have the fair. I've signed up to do lemonade one day, you know, so I'm not sure. And Caitlin, you know, she is absolutely terrific. I couldn't do this without her. You guys, you understand, you know. And so she takes care of my calendar. So sometimes I have to say, hey, Caitlin, what is this? And she says, here's where you're going. This is what you're going to do. So, but just being connected, right? Being out in the schools. I think I'm going to try to get to every school the first 2 weeks of school. I'm not sure that's doable. I've built it on my calendar. I just don't know what that looks like yet. It may take me 3 weeks, but to be out there, to be at the events and to see our students, not just in the classroom, because it's more than just what happens in the classroom. It's the after-school events. It's the band concerts. It's the musicals. It's everything, right? And then again, coming back to this, as I'm listening, as I'm learning, as we're gathering information, right? What do we need to prioritize for this year? And let's set in motion a strategic plan where we can get feedback from our community dialogue group, you know, help us navigate this. Let's get more stakeholders at the table to talk about the future of our students, because to me, there's not too many things as important as that. Our children means a lot. So we want to be thoughtful in the process. And so, yeah, so this is just going to sort of guide me for the next 100 days. And part of my transparency, again, Caitlin and Katie Lapierre, who's the other Katie in my life, are helping me navigate some of this. But I have on our website, there is a link that people can click and they can track my progress. And so they'll see what I've been up to. And I'm just being very transparent to say, I've said I'm going to go meet with all these people and have all these conversations, and I'm going to do these things. Then you can see whether or not I've accomplished the task at hand. And so far, I'm off to a good start, and I hope I can keep up the momentum. So, do you folks have any questions for me about any of this? Or sounds somewhat familiar, I think, doesn't it?
I actually do have one question, well,
Okay.
maybe just one question. We actually have homework for our retreat. And we were emailed a reading list. And my question is, so it says policies B and C. Is that all the policies we're supposed to read?
Yes.
I thought so. I just wanted
Those
clarification.
sections pertain to like school board governance and leadership, superintendent, and then school community relations. So he just wants you to have a background in those.
So board members, we have some reading to do before Wednesday morning.
And I will have a quiz for you. If you do not
Yay.
pass, you will not get breakfast. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's about getting some exposure and to see what does our policy, how does our policy already govern some of what we do? And hey, the cool thing is, guess what? Guess who gets to change policy?
Yeah.
So we may have to talk about some things, but yeah.
Okay.
If you'll recall, during the interview process, we asked all the applicants to present our 100-day entry plan. And I looked at you and I said, you know what, this is the best entry plan I've heard from the, for today, and you look back at me and you said, it's the best entry plan you're gonna hear all day. And I loved it. I loved the confidence. I loved your passion and wanting to do this position. And I have no doubt that you're going to succeed. So thank you for all the time that you're putting into this. Thank you for all the meetings you're doing, 14 meetings with employees. I'm just, that means a lot to me and I'm going to share a little bit later on, but to have everyone's respect from our maintenance to our assistant superintendent. Thank you for that for all employees as well. So I'm excited that you're on board. And so thank you for presenting this tonight, and I look forward to spending time with you.
Okay. Thank you very much. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda are additional policy revisions by Ms. Tennell again.
Hello again, everyone. So I think I told you last month that there were 45 policy revisions from the VSBA, and we didn't want to bring all of them to one meeting, so we brought you half, and that's the ones that you just talked about. This is almost the rest. My secretary and I were looking today. We have about 6 that are outstanding that we still need to look at, that Marcy wants to talk a little bit more about. So if you look at what you have in front of you, you can see that some of the policies are current Rockingham County policies, and we're going to choose to remove those. We're recommending that, and we're just going to take the VSBA policy for the 3 that are listed there. There are 3 that the VSBA policy is being revised, and so we're taking their revision. And then the last few are Rockingham County policies that we have changed in-house. And so that's why they're sectioned off the way that they are. As you look down there, if you're just curious, the one in regard to substitute teachers says that substitute teachers can be in their position for up to 180 days, which it was 90 before, and that's a critical shortage area and a need for us to be able to do that. The professional development has to do with the science of reading and the requirements that are coming down from the state on that. And then at the end where it talks about expulsion, we haven't changed anything there. We've just moved some things around. Student conduct mostly has to do with the character counts and student conduct, and then expulsions have moved down. So nothing has really changed there. Some things have just moved around. I'm happy to answer any questions, though, you might have about the policies.
Board members, do we have any questions?
These are information, and we'll get a chance to look at them, and
Yes.
then
And we'll come back in August
Yes.
for you to take action.
Right. Okay, thank you very much.
thank
Thank you
you.
for all your work on this. We've got lots of reading to do, folks. Board members, you have your financial review, the attendance report and for May and the attendance report for June in your packets for your review. Any questions on any of those? Okay, that concludes our information items. Now we'll move on to other business, school board questions and comments, and I'll start with Mr. Cross.
Thank you, Chairman Lohr. I had a few things to talk about tonight, and I was going to address a few things that was said at the last meeting, but the good thing is that we're moving on, and that excites me. You know, we've got a new superintendent, we've got a school board election that's coming up, and we're in the process of replacing Mr. Breeden's seat. So there's no reason to go over things that were said in the last meeting, and but I will say the reason why I wasn't here for accountability was because of my oldest son had his last high school all-star baseball game at JMU, and family will always come first. And so whenever something like that comes up, I'm going to attend a family event. Doesn't mean that I don't know what's going on, doesn't mean that I'm not filled in, doesn't mean that I don't bother Dr. Shiflett with text messages and phone calls, and I'm not texting and communicating with board members individually, or sending emails or answering questions from the public or whatever it may be. I'm involved in this position 24/7. I'm 7 days a week. So it's not something that I've just come to grandstand as I've been accused in the past of doing. That's not the part of this position. I love doing this. And the reason why I even wanted to step up and be in this position was because of school safety and sitting there for almost a decade inside the schools and seeing things that were happening that we just could get better at as a school division for our students and for our teachers. So that's my passion. So I really look forward to traveling on, gosh, this month sometime as well to Hampton with Dr. Shiflett as well. He's going to attend the school safety conference that happens every year that our school resource officers have a chance to go to. And I'm going to have an opportunity just to spend some time, look at school safety, hear different ideas. And it's just a great resource for our school resource officers and for our school division as well. So I'm looking forward to that, all the meetings that are going on. We're involved. This is more than just these meetings. So I kind of wanted to address and say that the other thing that I don't want to get too much in the weeds with is earlier in the, well, actually it was early in the last school year, Dr. Alderfer came, he's over there rubbing his forehead, but he came and he explained to the board that Rockingham County Public Schools was seeing such high numbers with drug use inside of our schools that it was concerning. And so that was the first time we as a board had heard about the things that were going on with the drugs and just how bad it was. And so we took action on that. And the action we took is the action that says that we take drug offenses in Rockingham County Public Schools very seriously. We want our signs in front of our schools to be true when it says a drug-free school zone. And so all I'll say to that is accountability. We've got to teach a generation to also be accountable. And when we don't teach individuals to be accountable, we're setting them up for failure and not success. I was not a perfect child growing up. I was the least likeliest person to be sitting here in this position as a father, as a pastor, as anyone else. Any good coming from my life, I'm the least likely. I remember walking up to Spotswood High School my first day as a school resource officer, and I said, you know, God has a sense of humor. And so I understand to have second chances and third chances and, my gosh, fourth and fifth chances. I believe in that. But this is accountability. This is something that is a message that we want all of our students to understand, that we take this offense very seriously. And it's a hard decision to take as a board. It's a hard decision to take as a parent. It's not something that's you take lightly to do that has such an impact on students' lives. But on the broader good of all students, this is something that we need as a school division to make sure our schools remain a drug-free place where all students can come and get a good education. So yeah, I didn't want to get too much in the weeds in that, but I did want to at least say something, because when people come to public comments, as a parent and as a community member, when in the past when people would come and speak and they just wouldn't address anything, I understand at times, but I at least like to give a little bit of my opinion on that. And lastly, tonight, Dr. Shiflett, one of the things that I just wanted to say to you was, first, congratulations for having this position, for taking on this position. There's three things as a board member. There's three things that if you'll follow this, we're going to be great. And number one, With this position comes a lot of power. It comes a lot of authority. It comes a lot of power and authority to sit in the chair that you're sitting in. So, number one, I'm asking you to always remain faithful to your wife and always keep your family number one. If you'll do that, that's the number one thing I as a board member that I want to see you do is be faithful to that woman that you promised at that altar. And number two, always be there for your family. Let them come first before any school matters or anything else. Always take their phone call. I don't care what's going on. If it's a board meeting and your son calls you, your daughter calls you, it's okay to step out. Take that phone call, okay? I want to make sure that you do that. And number two, always show respect. From the assistant superintendent, all the way down to the person cleaning the toilets. I just think that's so important to do, and you've shown that even in your very beginning of your first video email that you sent out to the community. Thank you for including everyone in that message that you sent out. That was impactful and it was powerful. So thank you for doing that. And number three, I just ask you not to ever lie to parents or to any stakeholders. Always be transparent, no matter what happens. I believe the public understands that bad things happen inside of our schools. It happens. Bad things happen. Employees make bad decisions. Students make bad decisions. But never try to cover that up. Always be transparent. Let parents know what's happening. And let our community, let our public know what's happening inside their public schools. If you do those three things, me and you, we're going to have a great relationship. And I want to have a great relationship with you. And anything that's out there saying otherwise, that's a lie. I'm looking forward to having a great working relationship with you, and even a friendship off of this board. And so one day when I'm not sitting on here, that I can still say, you know what, I hope Larry still likes me. That matters to me. So again, congratulations for getting this position, and thank you for wanting this position. It meant a lot to me as a board member too. I really wanted to see someone that was from our community, that understood our community and loved our community. Not that this would be a place to be a stepping stone for another higher school division to go to. I was wanting someone that loved Rockingham County Public Schools as much as I do. And so thank you. That's all my comments tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. Dr. McQuilkin? Thank you. Mr. Falk? Thank you. I have a question. I know, and maybe the room doesn't know this, but you, like me, have chickens. Well, maybe not exactly like me, but you have chickens too. Do you have any experience with goats?
I do not. Oh, well, I take that back. I did milk my neighbor's goats for a week when I was in middle school, which was quite the adventure.
Great. That is awesome. Caitlin, I have an idea for his schedule, so you and I will need to talk after the meeting.
But you talk to me first, Caitlin.
No, I think you'll like this. I just want to say thank you to those of you who stuck with us. I saw two students come in, but I think they've left us at this point. Or do we still have them? Do we still have the students? Yay, there you guys are. You're behind the pillar. Thank you guys for coming tonight. Let's give our students a round of applause. And I also see over there Donna Abernathy, and I'd like to congratulate her on her new position. And that's all the comments I have. Do you have any further comments you would like to make?
So, Mr. Cross, thank you for your words of counsel and wisdom. I'll take those to heart. I hope I'm always truthful and transparent with people, and sometimes the truth hurts. But if my wife asks me if that dress makes her look a little heavy, I may fudge, Mr. Cross. I may just say that's not, I may just have to break the rules right there, friend. But no, I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do want to say, I hope, it's sort of how I've been raised by my mom and dad to be respectful of all people. And so, just so you know, and maybe you missed this earlier when I was talking with Lowell and Charlotte, my very first meeting as superintendent was with our custodian at central office, Viola Fink. And my wife and I took her to breakfast on Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock. And we sat down and I got to know her as a person and learn about her family and where she likes to go on vacation and her favorite restaurants at Pigeon Forge. And I ended the conversation with, okay, Viola, you're doing a great job. And she is. She's phenomenal. Don't anyone try to take her from us. I take that back. She's not very, no, I'm just kidding. She's really good. And I said, what do you need to be successful in your role? And she says, well, I need an extension so I can get the cobwebs out of the stairwells. And I said, Viola, we'll order you an extension for your dust mop to get the cobwebs out of the stairwell. And Steve Reed's taking care of that for me, I think. So I want to keep that sense of humility. And I agree with you, families first, for all of us on this board, families first. And, you know, you talked about missing that ball game. You never know when you're going to see your son or daughter play their last game, right? And I shared with this board at one point, I watched my daughter play a basketball game one evening, and she scored the winning bucket. It was, you know, a highlight of her career, and I didn't know that was the last time I'd watch her play. She had a knee injury, and she never came back. And life is short like that, and so we don't want to put our families on the back burner and miss out on opportunities because you can never get them back. So thank you for that, and I would say my sentiments are the same. All right, thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to have your back a little bit. Your wife is gorgeous and would not have any, I mean, like there is not any, she will never look heavy in anything, just saying. Board members, this concludes our open session. We have reason to enter closed session. Do I have a motion? Or do you want me to make the motion? You got it? Your microphone. Turn on your microphone. There you go.
I move that the board enter a closed meeting to discuss and consider the following pursuant to the provisions of Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711. A1, personnel, specific public officers, appointees, or employees for the purpose of considering such individuals' assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation, and A2, one or more particular students specifically related to requests regarding compulsory school attendance based on religious beliefs that would involve disclosure of information contained in a scholastic record concerning a student.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Falk. Is there any discussion?
I will be happy to read that at the next school board meeting. I've just always vowed to you as the vice chair to be able to, I just thought you maybe want to read that. So I will be more than happy to read that at the next school board meeting.
It might be shorter at the next school board meeting, just saying. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And before I drop the gavel, thank you all for coming. Have a safe travel home. Have a wonderful July, and hopefully we'll see you in August. We're in closed session.